Hello and welcome to the Electrical Open Event webinar. I'll shortly be handing you over to Gary Morgan, who's the Head of Department for Electrical, who will be delivering a short presentation. We'll have a live Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so please type any questions you have into the chat box. This webinar is going to be recorded and will be available to view on our website as after Monday. So I'd like to hand you over to Gary now for his presentation. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Nadia. Well, welcome everybody. As Nadia says, thank you for joining us today. And we're just going to run through a short presentation, hopefully give you some important information. And again, if there's any questions, type them into the chat, into the live chat, and we'll try and address all of those at the end. So just to give a little overview of what we're going to be talking about, it's going to be a little bit about our facilities, course information, of course, just to tell you about what will be happening when you join us. Is the course right for you? Letting you have an idea of how we decide what levels you start at and what options you have. Tell you a little bit about work experience, our employers that we work with, tell you about work experience that's expected as part of the program, a little bit about students and how they progress. And then we just go into the admin stuff, tell you about how to apply for the course, and then we'll get to the live Q&A session where there's a couple of members of the team available for the end, and they will hopefully be able to answer anything off, and I will be able to as well. So obviously Oaklands College, very proud of the facilities, lots and lots of facilities. If you've ever visited, you know about the football pitch, the equestrian centre. Look at that, I messed up. Equestrian centre. Again, the farm. We've got the habitat centre where there's lots and lots of exotic animals, and there's the gym. Lots and lots of facilities, but also our curriculum facilities. The motor vehicle workshop, which electrical workshop that I'm sitting in today, and you can see that it's very, very large. It's got lots of bays, it's got all the industry equipment that you will need. And I think there was also some video shot and opportunity to do a virtual tour of those. And then once things settle down, we're hoping we'll be able to have people in and get you to see it for real as well. But again, it's familiar stuff. If you've looked at other colleges, you've got your electrical bays so that you can be fixed into the walls. You've got all the tools you need, and it really does get everybody ready for the world of work. Okay, so there's just some pictures and a couple of students working, but it's a very large workshop for the level 2, the level 1. The level 3 tends to be in other spaces because they're getting into more specific content, such as the test and inspect. So again, the high level stuff as you work on through. But when I talk about the courses, I'll just break down a little bit about.
They've got their cameras, I can't see them.
So I'll break down just a little bit about what happens at the different levels. And then if there's any further questions, you can just talk to the tutors, or the coordinators are here to help today. Okay, so that's the team. So you can see that we've got Ben, Stuart, so you can just have a little look. There's faces to names. When you come to the college, you'd obviously meet the most relevant tutor, which would be, if it was about apprenticeships, it would be Terry. If it's level 3, it's Stuart. Ben would be level 1, level 2. And then the tutors teach across programs. We've also got Rob in there as a learning mentor. But level 1 is that starting point. That's where, if you've not done any practical before, if you've got no experience, it gives students that first introduction into what it's like to work in an electrical sector. Okay, it is to help with students who maybe haven't achieved the grades, but I'll talk about that in the next slide. Level 2 is now getting into that first technical qualification that is often part of apprenticeships, so that students now are really learning the more in-depth skills. They're actually doing far more complicated installations, wiring activities, and then that follows through to level 3. Level 3 tends to be very, very heavily theory, you know, as you might expect. So science takes a bigger role, maths takes a bigger role. You know, there's one thing that I want to stress through the presentation, that although these are vocational qualifications and they are for the world of work, they're also very technical, and you know, they rightly sit within the STEM agenda. So maths and science, very, very important. But it's not just about full-time students. We have lots of part-time opportunities. primarily level 2 and level 3 on the part-time, which is, Oaklands does it in a very, very innovative way, which some colleges can't do. So there's evening courses, which is the traditional model. So students come along 2 evenings a week, 3 hours, so 6 hours in the week. That runs for the year. But Oaklands also offers a single day where you can come in and do that part-time course during the day. So that's different days through the week, whether it's level 2, level 3. So there's lots and lots of thought being put into how we can accommodate for those individuals that maybe can't come to the evenings because of responsibilities with family, or they work in the evening, so they need to do it through the day. On top of the core courses, we also offer courses, as you might expect, for Test and Inspect or 18th edition. I mean, they really do depend on whether we get enough numbers to run them, because 18th edition obviously has peaks and troughs because people don't need it all the time, they just need it when they're qualified. And if you have to move up from 17th to 18th, you've probably already done that. But I just wanted to let you know as well, so there's lots of opportunity for adult learners. And then we do the apprenticeships. So there's the level 3 apprenticeship, which is the old style proper apprenticeship, which is 4 years. So first couple of years, you're doing your technical certificate, your qualification in the college as well as at work. And then you start to move into your more at work because you've actually completed off the learning aspect, if you like. Now you're learning on the job far more, and you're actually out there working because by the time you've completed your level 3, if you've done the other technical quals, you can start really identifying as a competent person, which is what everybody wants to be, so that they can actually then get working in the sector. So obviously, what qualification is right for you? All colleges, but particularly at Oaklands College, we're very, very, very set on making sure everybody starts on the right level. Everybody starts at the right point, so that there's no struggling, there's no difficulties. It's usually based on your GCSE, so you can see on the ladder diagram there, the step diagram, the 3 GCSEs for level 2. That should be maths and science primarily. English is important, it shouldn't be ruled out. But again, there are starting points. So what happens is, if you've got those qualifications, you come to the college, you'd be offered a level 2. Most often you're going to start at level 1 and level 2 in technical vocational quals, because unless you've completed a level 2 elsewhere, you wouldn't necessarily have had exposure to and enough time to develop the underpinning knowledge to be successful at level 3. But we do have students starting at level 3 if they've completed a similar qualification elsewhere, or they've already done that level 2 at a different college, or they're coming back from work. So there are other options, and we do take those into account. In the first 6 weeks of a college course, we're also looking at, are you on the right level? Not just did you have the entry requirements. It might be that you're coping too easy with level 2. It might be you're coping too easy with level 1. That the GCSEs are a starting point, they're an idea, but they don't guarantee that you are on the right level. You may well be more competent than an exam was able to identify in a 2.5 hour window. Okay, so it's really, really important that these are the starting points, but it is about making sure you're on the right level. It would be amiss of me to suggest that you can't be spoken to about maybe this level's too hard for you as well, because GCSEs are not necessarily mapped directly into the vocational quals. They're just a starting point, but this is just to give you that idea. Okay, but you can go up, you can go down. We don't like to put students down. We try and our very best to get it right in that first week or two. Okay. So the adult programs are slightly different, but the majority of the students that we'll hope will be coming along and joining us in September will be 16 to 18-year-olds. And the government has a model. It's a study program model wherein there is a number of different elements to it to provide a rounded education, holistic approach to getting people ready for the world of work, because ultimately, that's what we're looking to do, whether it be that there's a university involved in that as well when they transition and move on from college. But that will be a recognised qualification. So for example, you're level 1, you're level 2, you're level 3. But as well as that qualification, for any students who don't have their maths or English at grade C or 4, then it's a requirement to carry on doing your maths and English. and you would do that as part of your study program. So you would be expected to do that on top of your recognised or your chosen qualification. Okay. If you don't have anything higher than a grade 1, doesn't matter, we've got a starting point. And again, that just means instead of reattempting your GCSEs, you could start with functional skills, which is still developing that maths and English, those competencies that are going to help with your main program. As well as maths and English, a big thing that FE colleges do really, really well, and Oakland's is definitely no exception to that, is the development of employability skills and getting people ready for work. And as part of that, the government also expects work experience. So again, depending on the level, it's 20 to 40 hours. That's in the year, that's not a week, it can be spread across the year. It could be that it's done as part-times in the evening, it could be done on a Saturday. Every student needs to identify what that work experience will look like. So the reason that I'm stressing it now, and probably going to spend a little bit of time just saying, start thinking about, is there a friend of the family? Do we know a company? Am I already doing something? Can I expand that and extend it so that it covers off that required element when I get into college? And again, it should be linked to your course. It should be developing those skills that are helping you get ready for the next step, which is obviously we're hoping it's going to be an electrical installation or electrical engineer. And it may well be that you're thinking further down the road into the design office, and you might actually want to sort of go and work with somebody who does that type of role, because it's building service engineering that we sit under. So although we're talking about electrical installation today, that does cross over and expand into a lot of career opportunities. We do have good links with the employers, so there is opportunities through the college to have support with that. A lot of our students successfully speak and find their own work experience, so they'll speak to people they know to and say to them, please, can you take me out? It makes people feel more comfortable because then you know who they're with, your son or daughter's with, you know what they're doing. But all the checks are done anyway as part of work experience, and the college has got a team. I'll talk more about them in a bit. But the college has got a team that do help with that. So as well as maths and English and the employability skills, there's also that personal development skills, that support within the college, the learning, the lessons, the opportunity, just to get me ready for, the world, make me understand about the modern world, help me understand how to stay healthy, physically, mentally, how to turn around and be able to cope with the challenges that life throws at us, and I'm sure that we all recognise the importance of that. Staying safe online. A lot of young people will say they know how to stay safe online, but cyber crime wouldn't be on the up if everybody knew how to manage ourselves with our online identities, our online safety. And actually there's coverage of that just to help students be aware of the information they may share or post, or what they put into websites, anything like that. It's all about providing that aftercare, if you like. Getting people ready for work is one thing, but it's actually then being able to be successful in the world of work and in the outside world. There's also mental health workshops, there's careers advice and guidance. So there's lots and lots of things within the college so that the support is there to make sure that you're not having to do it on your own. And that's your son or daughter, or you as parents, if parents are listening in on this event today, or when it's recorded and put up onto the internet in the future. So the breakdown of the lessons, as you might expect, is electrical installation. So there is a fair chunk of practical work. So that's in the workshop, and that will be getting used to measuring and marking out, cutting cable, doing installations, using tools correctly, working safely. That type of work the students will expect, and I'm sure it's no surprise to hear about that. We also would expect that the academic side is considered. So I do need to stress that although it's a vocational qual, the online exams or the synoptic assessments, because the model is changing the way that the awarding bodies now decide whether you are competent or not. And where it used to be you would have exams through the year, you'll find that now it's a synoptic assessment because it marries very much into how apprenticeships work. The lesson style, so tutor-led presentation, practical sessions, as I've said. So the presentations, though, are engaging. It's not chalk and talk. And the group individual activities, that's to develop teamwork, collaboration, Canvas is our virtual learning environment, so the staff will post things on there if we have to do remote learning because of anything. You know, there will be activities, and the Oaklands app is the way that, and that's free to download, but that's the way that everybody can keep track of timetables, messages, what's going on at the college, work experience opportunities. So if you were just curious to have a look at that, you could do that today, just to see and compare with other colleges. So I've talked a little bit about the curriculum, and you know, every student will get a personal tutor. That'll be one of their curriculum tutors. That tutor will oversee, make sure they're doing okay, so there's regular monitoring of progress, talking to the other tutors, talking to this, you know, your son or daughter, making sure that they're getting on okay, making sure they're happy. If there's any struggling, any problems, the personal tutor will mediate, will turn around and deal with talking to the other tutors. If I'm struggling with one unit but not another, they'll explore that. The college also has student advisors that can do the welfare, the other outside of learning support. So that could be financial, it could be I need help with travel, it could be I've got problems at home. The work experience, again, mentioned, so these are some pictures of some of the students working, but the college has got a team of employability mentors that will actually help make those links, help advise, help with CVs, help get somebody ready to turn around and take that next step. So they're able to meet with those very early on in the year, they're able to talk to them and say, this is the type of work experience I'm looking to do, this is what my expectation is, and then we try and marry that with employers. And employers come in through the year as well and provide opportunities. There's one being looked at right now where an employer is looking to do a case study, a type of masterclass scenario, just to identify who would be suitable to then go on to do the work placement with that company. And I'm sure by next year we will have developed that even further because it is a new company that's come to us just recently. But lots and lots of exciting opportunity. But again, there is a team to support and help with that. This is just a list of some of the employers that we work with. There'll be no surprises with some of the names on there. The picture is an example of the college. So this is obviously the Brickwork students, but this is them out engaging with a community project. So the college is always looking to find opportunities to develop the students' skills in the world of work and actually the community at large. And that then ties into that full holistic approach. So the students understand their skills are valued, but they're also out there giving a little bit back. Okay. So some of the employers that directly work with, you know, the electrical department, so the IET, so there's lots around that. I'm sure there'll be no surprises because we've got regulatory bodies. Wilmot Dixon, who are obviously a big construction company, they help with opportunities to see how the role of an electrical installer fits into the wider role of whether it's in, you know, building from scratch or whether it's refurbing, modifications, or whether it's actually just maintenance. Some of it's now virtual, as we will understand, but that virtual experience has actually still been very rich and it's been developed. And, you know, it's a really good opportunity for students to engage where maybe they wouldn't have been able to travel before. Around 96% of students progress to the next level or gain apprenticeship or employment. Some students decide that electrical installation is not right for them. Some students will actually add another trade. So they may well then go and do plumbing. They'll do level 2 electrical, then they'll go and do level 2 plumbing because they see themselves being more of a maintenance operative, or they want to be a general builder, a general operator. Okay, but really, really good opportunity for students. And that is because we spend so much time trying to get everybody on the right level, get them ready, get them trained so that they can successfully step through and progress onto level 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and out into apprenticeships. Okay, so lots of information there. An example of me not being able to say a word because I hadn't practiced equestrian, but there you go, I got it right at the end. The next step, and you don't have to do it right now, but we're just going to go through it, is so you could apply for a course. Just go to the college website, find the course you're interested in, and you just hit apply for course. Administration team will then review your application, so you'll put in your predicted grades, you'll put in what you expect. They'll look to see if that marries with the expectation. Then you should receive an email offer. So the college will make an offer based on the grades that you're expecting, or if you've got them, the grades you've already received. If you haven't got your grades, because obviously you're still in school this year, when you receive those grades from school, then you'll be able to share them with us, and then that just cements the offer that was made. Enrollment happens around the end of August. Obviously you'll be contacted. There's lots of activities. The college contacts and keeps lots of keep warm activities just to let you know what's going on. Be telling you about the new construction build so that you can see about the new electrical workshops. But ultimately then you would start your course in September, and that's whether it is as a full-time course or our part-time courses. The only difference is if somebody was signing up to do one of the 18th edition or the test and inspect, they start at different times. But for full-time students and our adults doing full-time, a full course part-time, it'll be in September. Okay, so we've got some tutors on hand. I'm sure that there's been some questions, but this slide is just to sort of highlight that the college has got a really, really good presence out on social media. So there's opportunities for posting on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can check out for jobs on LinkedIn if somebody was looking to get into teaching, just throwing it out there. We've got YouTube, which this will be posted to at the end, and then TikTok for anybody who doesn't recognise the little TikTok. I'm sure all the students that are looking at this will do. But then you can also go through the website. So you apply oaklands.ac.uk. You can get further information at info@oaklands.ac.uk. So lots and lots of ways, if you're watching this after the event, for you to still get into contact if a question comes up that we don't manage to answer in the upcoming Q&A session, where hopefully we'll cover off anything that hasn't been mentioned.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Gary. We have had a few questions in, so I shall start. Can a student change their chosen course after a few weeks?
Yep. So one of the things about making sure that you're on the right course is that it's not just the tutors deciding. You may come in because you fancied the idea of doing electrical installation. After a couple of weeks, you think, this isn't really what I was expecting. I'm not really enjoying it. So the college does actually allow for moving around and being able to pick a different course. So yeah, there is that freedom. We like to encourage that to happen quite quickly because we don't want you to miss too much content, but within the first 2 or 3 weeks, most definitely.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. Another question. Is there a uniform? Do I have to wear a uniform?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So I'm going to say that yes, I would like the students. We do it in plumbing, and the actual students wear their polo shirts or sweatshirts or whatever else, and it's got Oaklands College plumbing written on it. You know, and I want the students, I want everybody to be professional looking. I want them to have pride in what they're doing. And actually, when I bring employers in, and this is the employers comment on the students that are wearing a uniform because they actually look like they're already in work. Designer clothes are great, but they're not for workshops. They're not for wearing to colleges and that. They're for going out for social events. So at this moment in time, I'm going to say yes. We haven't enforced it this year, and I would like to see if we can at least get the students wearing the polo shirts, because we want them to be proud of being electrical installation students, just like we're proud of the department.
Okay, thank you. Another question, can I get an apprenticeship after the course?
Okay, so if you do level 1, you could apply for, if you can find an intermediate apprenticeship, that would be a level 2. The likelihood is, because the government are phasing out level 2 apprenticeships, that you would probably need to complete your level 2, but then you could go on to an apprenticeship. But you can apply for an apprenticeship directly from school. If your GCSEs are strong enough, so most apprenticeship providers will say they want the 4 or 5 Cs or better, including maths or English. If you've got that profile, there's nothing to stop you exploring apprenticeship offers straight from school. In terms of from college, I think if you didn't have the GCSEs, you're probably looking at waiting until you've completed level 2, and that would be the ideal stepping off point. But you can do it from school.
Okay, and following on from that, there was a question about GCSEs. Do I need my maths and English GCSE?
So I'm going to turn around and say that you ideally need your maths to go on to level 2, ideally science as well. English you can always pick up. The important thing that I'm going to say right now is that put the effort into your maths and English, your GCSEs, while you're in school. because if you get them completed off, when you come to college, you're going to be able to concentrate on the wider parts of the study program, you know, your work experience, the actual practical stuff, making sure that you can pass the synoptic assessment. They wouldn't rule you out from a course, but you know, it's much easier coming into college with those already completed.
Okay, a question from Eric. Will the college help after level 3 with making sure students complete their AM2 and NVQ properly? Will you offer continued assistance?
Okay, so if you're doing your AM2 would be as part of an apprenticeship program, or you could already be working and you'd go and pay for the AM2. So in terms of supporting it, if we've got apprentices, then obviously, and Terry, you'll be able to jump in and help with this one, but if we've got apprentices, they will work through and complete that. If somebody finishes the course and now they're off in employment, the college wouldn't support them with AM2 because they're actually not in the college. It would be part of an apprenticeship where the AM2 and the NVQ comes into it. They're not part of full-time courses. Is that right, Terry?
That's correct, yes. The apprenticeship course, to go on the actual apprenticeship course, you have to be an apprentice. You'll already be an indentured apprentice, and that's a 3-year course, and the NVQ and the AM2 are wrapped up in that package. They're part of that course. If you do your full-time or part-time level 2 and 3, the end of that you would have to find employment, or during that time find employment, and then you would get in and then organise your own NVQ or AM2. So it's not something we do as a matter of course. If you're on the apprenticeship course, yes, it's part of that. If you're coming at it from a different direction, then it would be down to yourselves, the student, to organise that. And you have to be working to do your NVQ and AM2, because your NVQ assessment takes place in the workplace, not the college.
So obviously, just to add to that, thanks Terry. So obviously where the college would support is looking to try and get those links with those employers, get you working with, and then help you transition into an apprenticeship if that's what you were looking for. If it turned around that you didn't have an apprenticeship, then it would follow that different pathway that Terry just explained.
Okay, someone's just come up with a question for everybody out there that don't quite understand what you're talking about. What is AM2?
Go on, Terry.
And AM2 is at the end of an apprenticeship when you've completed the academic work, the college work, and then your NVQ is completed. The AM2 is a practical test. It takes place at an AM2 centre. We're not, Oaklands is not an AM2 centre, but it takes place at a centre, and it's a partially completed installation that you have to finish and test. But it is at the end of an NVQ. And just to clarify, the NVQ, National Vocational Qualification, that is, you are assessed in the workplace. So if you're an apprentice, an NVQ assessor comes to your workplace. There's a number of different types of electrical work that you have to complete, and they assess them. You have to keep a log of your work, photographs, that sort of thing. So it's a record that you are actually performing in the workplace, and then at the end of that you do the trade test, the AM2, which is a practical test in the AM2 centre. I hope that clarifies that.
So just to tie in with that's thanks Terry. Just to tie in with that, so where I mentioned synoptic assessment on our full-time programs, that's because the AM2 is pretty much like a summative, a final test of those skills and abilities, and the synoptic assessments have been added into full-time programs to get students ready to the idea that I need to be able to do it in its entirety, not just broken down into little chunks, which is what the AM2 tests all those skills at the end of an apprenticeship.
Okay, and I think a final question here. Is there limited space on the courses?
Oh yes, if we have another year like this year, which was a bumper year, we've got way more students than we were anticipating, so we are having to put in additional groups. Now, obviously we have put in those extra groups, but after a certain point you run out of tutors and you run out of workshop space. We wouldn't turn a student away, but what I would say is if you get apply in early and your name's down, then if we did end up getting to a situation where, for example, we had to have 6 groups, which would be a huge strain on everything, then, you know, you wouldn't be on the waiting list. You'd be in there early. We would know when you applied. So there is the chance that courses fill up in electrical installation. Yes, I have to say that.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Gary. Would anybody else like to add anything else at this stage? No? Okay, that's lovely. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I think that's the end of our Q&A session. If you do have any further questions after the webinar has ended, please get in touch with us via the contact details on our website. And our live chat is available on the main website until 3 p.m. today if you think of anything else. We hope you found this webinar helpful. Our new full-time course guide is available to view online, or you can order your copy from our website. If you'd like to join another website or find out more about any other subject area, please return to our virtual Open Day page, either using the same link that you joined this one with or going via our website.